everybody. I am Josue Crimson-Rojano here with Ben Potter, Michael Pramalot, and Kyle Pukasukovic, and this is the Top Cut. It's been a while since we've had a show, so I guess we should kind of talk about what we've been up to these last few days. So how's everybody doing? Starting with Potter.
Doing pretty good. Got a Hearthstone beta key the other day, so I've been playing a little bit of Hearthstone. Been thinking about Pokemon a bit, what's good, what's bad, planning some league challenges in the area. So, going pretty well.
All right. You attended regionals this last regional week thing, Bobber. How did you do at regionals?
I didn't do so hot. Well, I guess I did okay. I went 5-2-2. I missed day 2 by, I think it was 1 point. So, I think if I had one more point, I actually wouldn't have got in on tiebreakers. So I would have needed another win instead of a tie or a loss. But I liked my deck, and I thought it was the best deck in the format. But because it won the first 2 regionals, I played Darkrai. There was a lot of anti-Darkrai cards, so it was tough.
You say anti-Darkrai cards. What kind of cards are you talking about?
Mr. Mime, bane of my existence.
Yeah, that's my baby.
Also played against 2 plasma decks that ran 2 Landorus EX. So, okay.
Landorus
Did they also play Scramble Switch?
I don't know what A-Spec they played. I don't remember. They played Max Potion, though.
Landorus doesn't seem too worthwhile if they're not going to run Scramble Switch. I don't understand that.
60-30, man. All day, 60-30.
I guess.
I would assume the Plasma Landers, maybe, but Landers...
Well, I didn't play Mr. Mime, so that was a problem.
Alright, well, did you have fun during the weekend with the giant regionals tournament that probably occupied?
Yeah, I know a lot of people say that it was too long and there were too many rounds, but I had fun every single round, and I love it and would like to do it again. Okay,
that's a point of view that I don't hear very often. So it's refreshing to hear somebody say that they really enjoyed having the entire weekend just to play nothing but Pokemon and kind of spend your time that way. Pram, what about yourself? How was your time away from the Top Cut show?
Well, let's see. I also got a Hearthstone beta key, so I've been playing a lot of that. As for regionals, didn't do as well as Ben. I went 5-3-1, which was kind of But I ended up playing Blastoise because I was just like, well, this is the last tournament of this terrible rule set, so I might as well just play the deck that draws the best.
Woo!
And went with Blastoise. I got a tie my first round, and then I never saw a tie again. I either got 2-0'd or 2-0'd them. I actually won a few 2-1s, but only because my Squirtles kept getting T1'd. So there was that. But overall, I liked the 9 rounds in one day, 2 out of 3. I just was not used to playing that many rounds, 2 best of 3s in one day, so I kind of made an error in my last round, which cost me my day 2. But it is what it is, and yeah.
Okay. How about you? How did you like having obviously you only played Saturday, but how did you like having that entire day dominated by Pokemon?
The entire day, what?
Dominated by just playing nothing but Pokemon, from start to finish. So many games.
It didn't bother me until I thought it was perfectly fine until I hit round 9, and by then, because we didn't have dinner break, I hadn't eaten in like 8 hours or something. So I was just very tired. But I felt like if there was like even a food vendor somewhere near, like within like a minute, 5 minutes of the location, I would have been fine. But that's just what it is. I think the format itself is fine, tournament format. It was just unfortunate location.
Okay. You had Philly, right? You and Potter both went to Philly?
Yeah, we both went to Philly. Sam Chen won that event with Blastoise. It was It was funny. We were talking Blastoise list right before the event, and he was like, "Guys, I'm gonna not run Tool Scrapper." And I was like, "All right, you do you, man." And like he played against like two Garbodor decks and beat them. And then like I was playing 2 Tool Scrapper, and the only reason I wasn't even in the game because of like they had like turn 2 Garbodor everything. I was just like, Tool Scrapper, Dowsy Machine, Tool Scrapper. All right, we finally did it.
Yeah, it's really interesting to me. I guess we'll talk more about that when we start talking about regionals, decks, and winners. But I'll keep that in mind just because every Blastoise deck I've made has included at least 1 Tool Scrapper at the very least, and that included a Dowsing Machine. So yeah, that just takes me by surprise right now. Anyways, Kyle, how about yourself? You went to Fort Wayne, correct?
Yep, I went to Indiana. I had a really good time. Before the tournament, I couldn't decide what I wanted to play, so I actually flipped a coin to decide my fate, and I ended up using Flareon. I went 6-1-2 on the first day. My other loss was to Colin Mall, who was playing Landorus, Mewtwo, Garbodor, which is almost an auto loss. It's a pretty bad matchup. That was the one deck I was hoping not to run into. Everything else I felt like I was fine against. And then day 2, go figure, I play him again right away.
What?
So, what?
You play the same person?
Yeah, day 2, you can play anybody again. Since there's only 32 people, they can't really like prevent that sort of thing from happening. So they don't even bother. Yeah, I asked. Trust me. I was like,
it definitely makes sense.
I was like, wait, are you sure I can play him twice? I don't want to play him again. Like, if it's against the rules, we don't have to do this. Like, please repair me. But they're like, no, you got to play him. All right, so.
Please.
Yeah.
But I'm Kyle. I'm Puka.
I was hoping, like, come on, repair something. But no, I lost to Colin twice. It was pretty ugly. And then I ended up losing some fluke series to the guy who ended up actually winning the event, JW. It was a Virizion Mewtwo deck where I beat him pretty badly the first game. And then I just drew dead the next 2, where he just, like, one Pokemon just 6-0'd me the next 2 games. So I lost my 3rd game there. And I got to my last round where, of course, go figure, I got paired up against Ross Coffin. And the winner of us would probably make top 8. We weren't sure, though. And I won a really long game 1. And then he 6-0'd me game 2. And then we ended up in a tie. So neither of us made top 8. And I finished top 16, I think. So I had a lot of fun at the event. I had a lot of fun playing the deck, for sure. I think if I would have made top 8, I had a really good chance of winning, but just didn't go my way. Nothing I can really do about it.
Did you end up with 3 draws?
Yeah.
How do you feel about the format, seeing as how you got 3 draws? And, I remember that Fort Wayne itself actually had a ton of draws compared to other tournaments, and that's why kind of like the pairings got really screwed up and whatnot. Standings, anyways, not pairings.
Yeah, I hate the 50-minute system. I think it's terrible, to be completely honest. Every game was just like, even if I won the first game, like there was just so much pressure to win that second game. Like I knew if I didn't win the second game too, my game was going to a tie. And that's a terrible feeling. Like I have to 2-0 somebody to actually get a win. And a tie is just like worthless. It's 1 point. It's almost as bad as a loss. So not only was it like a long day, our tournament on the first day started an hour or 2 late as well. And there was just like random delays throughout the day. I don't think we got done until midnight on the first day. It was just a brutal tournament. So it was just a really stressful weekend of Pokemon. I had fun, but it was definitely a lot of stress and a lot of added pressure because of the system.
We'll get to that a little bit later on, but I do want to actually focus on one point that I just want to take out right now, and that is the fact that you had like really weird pairings in the final round where people like played. I mean, second seed could have played something like the 16th seed or something like that, and it was just like everywhere. Like a really lousy system for given the fact that you can actually play people that you've already played against before, throughout this entire day too. then all of a sudden the last round, or I don't know if it was before the last round or if it was just specifically the last round, but in the last round, like everybody just had like these incredibly unusual pairings.
The last round, there were 2 rounds in particular. Something happened. It's a big flaw in the system. I don't think they looked into it too much when they designed the new pairing system, because the ties and the day 2, they're both brand new things. But what happened was the 2 players with the worst records, they had like the minimum number of points that would make day 2. I don't even think they like won a game on the second day. They had already played against each other, and I think they tied. So, like, they tried to pair those 2 players first, and then the system was like, oh, they already played on this day. So they got paired up like 10 points higher. Chris Fulop got paired way down with a player that was 10 points lower than him. And then another player named Sam Salvador had the same thing. Chris and Sam were supposed to play, and they were just going to draw in to make top 8. But they both got paired down. And it really messed with the tournament. Like, that shouldn't have happened. And, Fulop ended up not handling the situation correctly. And he got disqualified. But it was something that never should have happened in the first place. And I hope they fix it in the future.
He was set up. Chris Fulop was set up.
I guess we will lightly touch on that. He ended up losing to his opponent, and he got disqualified for some incident after that. And that actually messed with the top 8 pairings, because he was going to be in as the 8th seed or something like that, or some seed, and they actually ended up including the 9th seed into the top 8. So very good luck. Wasn't the 9th seed Colin Mall?
Yep, he made top 8 because of that.
So congratulations to him. That was unexpected, I'm sure, but I do think that there's a big flaw with the way that these regionals were handled, and hopefully they do improve upon that for is it officially going to be called winter regionals or spring regionals?
Winter. So autumn, winter, and spring.
Christmas
autumn.
regionals.
That's, for some reason I thought the other ones were also considered winter, but honestly, they were towards the end of autumn. My mistake. Anyways, I do hope that they get fixed for winter regionals coming up, because there are quite a few flaws, nothing major, but quite a few flaws that could be addressed. Now, aside from regionals, what else have you been up to in these last pretty much month and a half?
What?
What else have you been up to besides regionals?
Me? Been streaming, been making videos, been at school. That's about it.
All right.
Don't have anything else exciting to say.
No Hearthstone beta key for you?
No, I have not played any other card games. Don't play
But
it.
this is a good chance to play a free-to-play card game named Hearthstone.
I think I'm good. I got plenty of Pokemon stuff to worry about.
I unfortunately don't have as cool a news as all 3 of these players, because Don't Call It a Comeback was suspended.
Hey, the stream crashed.
I know. It'll come back up.
Okay.
Oh, the stream went down. I guess Don't Call It a Comeback obviously took kind of like a bump in the road, bad bump in the road, because I got sick 2 days before the tournament, and I did really honestly try to go, even up until like 5-6 in the morning the next morning. I was considering driving up there, but it wasn't going to be a good idea. And it's a really unfortunate situation. I've never play tested quite as much as I play tested for this region. I really want to stress that. I mean, I don't know how many hours I put into PTCGO, and when I wasn't playing PTCGO, like in the middle of the night, I would just like randomly get up from bed and like look up a few cards to make sure that the cards would work in the deck, and just I was completely focused on Pokemon for maybe like 2 months leading into regionals, and I was devastated when I learned that, or not when I learned, but when when Saturday came along and I wasn't at the tournament, and I don't know, I couldn't be more bummed, because I really wanted to play in this tournament. I really had I felt like I had an opportunity to play the first Arizona regionals and whatnot. Didn't go my way. It is what it is, I guess, but I do want to, I do want to play in these things. I really do. the regionals format really wasn't appealing to me though. If I'm going to be honest, I didn't look forward to playing 9 rounds of day 1 in case there was a day 2 for Arizona, which I guess there wasn't. But yeah, I didn't look forward to playing.
Arizona ended up being one of the worst regionals.
Yeah, it had a really low turnout, right?
There was a 6-1-1 player that missed top 8.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh man. Yeah. Anyways, I don't know. There's a lot of things that just really bug me about this regionals format, and I really hope that they do address these issues because there's. I guess they can get rid of these draws now that they've taken out the first turn attacking rule. Now that you can no longer attack on the first turn, I really hope they get rid of these draws because I really feel like that's where the problem's coming from.
I mean, get rid of draws or get rid of the 50-minute 2 out of 3.
Well, by getting rid of the draws, you get rid of the 50-minute 2 out of 3. But I think that's
not
really
necessarily because even the single games like the league challenges and city championships, those have draws. They're single game, and if your game doesn't complete, it ends in a draw. It doesn't matter if you're up 6-1. It ends in a draw.
Wow.
I never had an issue with the draws.
Absolutely want to get rid of draws then at that point. Like if that can happen, then no, there's no way I would want that. That seems terrible.
Well, see,
have any of us not finished one game at regionals? Did any of us 3? Because I don't think so. I think I played 3 games every single round, except for the 2 rounds where I drew. I played 3 games.
the only time I didn't finish my 3rd game was round 1, and that's because it was just 3 drawn out games. But honestly, I think draws aren't an issue. It's more like how much time they give you for a round is the actual issue. Draws is like getting too many draws is just like the byproduct of that mistake.
I'm sorry, can you explain?
Well, they only give you 50 minutes for a round, so trying to finish 3 games in 50 minutes is like really difficult. Sometimes you do it, sometimes you don't. If they give you like 60 minutes, I think the number of draws would drop drastically.
Yeah,
I can tell you that I finished every game that went to game 3 that I wanted to finish. So if I didn't want to finish, we didn't finish. Not that I wasted time, but I was just like, okay, I'm just not going to play down Darkrai, and I'm going to just laser.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't know if that's another thing. I don't know if that should even be like a thing to consider. Like, because that doesn't seem like the game. That doesn't seem like Pokemon, the game. I'm not sure. Like, 2 of my rounds, my strategy literally was, okay, this is a terrible matchup, and I'm not gonna win because of like his board state after turn 1. So I'm not gonna play down Darkrai, and we're gonna just like go to time and tie. Like I'm not even trying to win the game.
It's clock manipulation. It's not actually trying to win.
Well,
I don't know, but I'm not even manipulating the clock.
Yeah.
I mean, you're playing
slowly.
for a draw, not to win it.
Yeah.
You're playing not to lose.
Yeah.
Right, and I don't know if that should be part of the game. Like, and I feel like it's like forced upon you sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess the point that I was trying to make earlier was that I personally am in favor of draws in a vacuum. When there's no actual format involved or anything like that, I would normally really like draws, given the right circumstances. 50 minutes is not the right circumstance. I mean, at that point you have 3 draws across the board, between all of these players instead of just having like that 1 or 2 draws that you're supposed to be having, and that's if you intentionally draw at some point or not. Like, I mean, intentional draws are out of the question at this point because everybody's just so close to rating or standings because everybody's got draws everywhere.
Right.
And the 30 minutes, single game, you still draw. That seems ridiculous. Like, I had never heard of that, and I couldn't be more unhappy with that decision because it doesn't make sense. Like, you just take the highest prize cards and let there be a winner. Like, there's no reason to have a draw at that point, in my opinion, anyways. And even though I personally am normally in favor of this stuff, I would just get rid of it now because it's leading to more problems than there should be. There's no legitimacy in these tournaments. I don't feel. I guess there's some people that disagree, obviously, because it's not like it's a cut and dry situation. But that's definitely my opinion, and I would feel like this is going to be the majority's opinion too.
I felt like Indiana was definitely an illegitimate tournament, especially because of the last round. I think that ruined all credibility that event had. Like the two players getting paired down in the last round was just like, this isn't even like a fair event.
Yeah, like as soon as you said I played Colin twice in Swiss, I was just like, whoa!
Not even that. It was the last round where Fulop gets paired down to somebody 10 points lower than him. That's the part that should never happen.
That's like that sounds like a computer error, and then like people just saw that and were like, all right, we're gonna let this happen.
They said like Fulop appealed it for a really long time, and they're like, there's nothing we can do. Like the software has no option to manually repair because you could potentially manipulate it. It's like play favorites.
Right.
So you just have to stick with what the program gives you.
That should be an option. Like,
yeah, that seems also very silly.
And
like,
they should just be able to trust the judges or whatever. Trust the tournament.
Are you serious right now?
Like, we can't trust you,
so we're not going to give it to you.
We can't trust you, but we're gonna let you monitor the player base.
I mean, like as long as the software, like they should let people do that. As long as the software like documents when someone does it. That way, like, you know, it documents that someone changed the pairings, and you have to put in a notation on why you changed the pairings, and then I think that would be fine because like
sign in with like ID.
Yeah.
I could see that. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, what
unfortunate.
Connor said was actually extremely accurate. They don't trust these people to not repair or whatever, but they're going to trust them to look over the player base. Like, do you understand how backwards that is? That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And granted, I feel like they shouldn't have had to even been in the position to repair. Like, they should have to repair anyways. Like,
right.
They should have just like had a program that actually worked, I guess. But again, it is the very first time that they're using it for such a large regionals. Whatever, we'll give them a pass as long as it gets fixed. I really do wish hope it gets fixed because there's no way that they can actually to have pairings like that. But anyways, there were some winners of these regionals, and you know we can cry illegitimacy all we want, but these people actually went through basically, I don't know, the longest tournament Pokemon's ever had. The longest tournaments. Like, I can't imagine longer tournaments. So I mean, congratulations to these players. I think there've been 3 dates. What?
Nationals.
I mean, this was 15 rounds, top 8. Nationals
14 rounds.
9 rounds.
It's 14 rounds, top 8. So that's 17.
Yeah.
Nationals is 9 plus 7, so 16.
9 plus 7, 16.
Yeah.
Boom! I'm right. Yes.
No, Nationals is longer.
What?
Nationals was 30 plus 3. This was 50 minutes. So maybe it is longer.
Well, in terms of like rounds, Nationals is longer.
In terms of play time.
9 plus 7 is no. There's no way, because this is 14 plus 3.
The regionals had more rounds.
Is it?
Yeah. Regionals.
Yeah. Yeah. 14 plus 3. 9 plus. Yeah, you're right.
And the rounds were longer.
Anyways. Yeah, that's not even the point. Like, the point is, like, you know, these players went through incredibly difficult tournaments, and again, we can cry legitimacy all we want for the sake of the actual tournament itself being bad, but no, Crim's over math. All right, I actually got
listen. Why do you even set us up like this? Like, you know, like there's the one rule to streaming: you never do math on stream, and then you always break this rule.
But yeah, you know what? We got to give these players the credit that they're due. And you said who won four-way in Indiana? Kyle?
JW. Krewall, I think his last name is.
Okay, and he was playing
Brizian Mewtwo.
Okay. Do you guys know the other winners off the top of your heads?
Sam
Chen,
Blastoise. Yeah.
He beat me on stream.
Oh, yeah.
One turn.
If only there was some website that has all the results of the regional championships.
You know what?
Right
I think there is, Kyle. I think
Really?
it's what's it called again? I think it's the top something.
The TopCut.net.
Wow.
Oh,
Looking. Yes, you're going.
Brandon Smiley won in Houston.
Okay.
And he played Trachian EX Victini EX.
Triple.
And I don't even have the results list up. I just know that.
Yeah. So it's these players won with these decks. We see the Brazian Mewtwo, correct? Brazian Mewtwo.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brazian Mewtwo. Yeah, that's JW Creewell. How do you guys feel about that deck? Because that deck actually,
I thought it was a pretty strong deck for the format. Like it was powerful.
It was okay. I mean, it took a loss to Blastoise, but yeah, it's whatever, I guess. If you just draw better and capture them out of the game, I guess you can win.
I felt like the deck was really simple, straightforward. It can win a lot of games in 50 minutes, and very, very good against Darkrai. I think that was a big
Telling me.
Now, why is it so good against Darkrai?
Have you experienced a Mewtwo with 7 energy as a Darkrai player?
I have.
Yes.
Way long ago.
One that cannot be
And I-
affected by
and I
Hypnotoxic Laser?
Got him.
One that also
All
plays Mr. Mime?
Yeah,
Yeah,
stop describing my nightmare.
The Mr. Mime, I think, was a long time coming. I'm surprised people didn't really catch on to the Mr. Mime earlier. I know a lot of people have been singing its praises for a long time, and it's just I'm glad it got its its fair due once regionals ended. But it was a card that really, I mean, honestly defined a lot of matchups. Like if a player had a Mr. Mime and the other one didn't, then the Mr. Mime player generally had a giant advantage.
Yeah, all of my opponents except for 2 played Mr. Mime. And I lost to both. No, did I lose to both? No, I got the one of the people who didn't play Mr. Mime was Sam Chen, and I lost to him. And the other 2 Blastoise who had Mr. Mime I actually beat. So I guess this is credit to Sam Chen for being really good at Pokemon. And yeah, Mr. Mime was just like the bane of my existence throughout the whole day. And I knew if none of my opponents had played Mr. Mime, I would have had 3 more wins. So I would have.
Do you feel like you should have maybe played Mr. Mime?
It would have won me 1 game if I had played Mr. Mime. It would have won me the Darkrai mirror match that I played, because he played Mr. Mime and I didn't. So it was an uphill battle. But like basically my strategy was, okay, we're gonna stall a turn by capturing up his Keldeo and putting it to sleep, and we're gonna win like that. And it didn't work either time, so I lost 2 games. But I can only imagine how many games I would have lost because I started with Mr. Mime or Keldeo, because I didn't play either of those. So, like, my turn 2 Night Spears it was like a very large percentage of the time. And, like, I always had a good start.
It's called the Luxac, my friend.
It's called deck building. I built
That's how
the
the deck's
most.
supposed to work.
I built the most consistent deck like ever. It was so consistent. I mean, like for the format, it was great.
You're the player that gets a turn 1 Night Spear with the Hypnotoxic Laser and a Burbank in play, and you're like, "This is how the deck's supposed to work, man. I don't know what to tell you."
I've done it before with. Yeah, I've done it before in this format.
Graham, what do you feel about the regionals winners and the deck list, and I guess Mr. Mime as well?
I felt Mr. Mime was very strong, obviously. In terms the winners, congrats to them. You know, you guys you guys made it through the marathon, right? And in terms of what decks were played, or what decks were won, Blastoise I felt was the best deck in the format by a lot. You know, in over a long series of games, like if you played like 10 games, would probably win like 7 of them. But you know, I just felt like it was really well placed in the format. Darkrai was also very good, but it started getting hated on, so it lost popularity. And it's pretty much all the format was. It was just like Darkrai got big, beat Darkrai. Now beat the things that beat Darkrai. And that was it.
Yeah. The first 2 weeks of regionals were basically dominated by Darkrai, which
Oh, dominated by one person.
yeah, well, one person in one deck. We'll go with that.
It was pretty much just him, actually.
Isaac Soto? No, wait, I'm sorry.
Israel Sosa.
Israel
Yeah.
Sosa. Yeah. Yeah. His Darkrai deck, his straight Darkrai deck, actually just won 2 regionals. He himself won 2 regionals, and that's just, oh my goodness, man. I mean, that's incredible for to start regionals off like that, and for Darkrai to really be the deck that really started things off like that. Like, it inspired Potter to play the Darkrai deck. I'm telling you, I would have played the Darkrai deck. That was going to be my big change-up. I was thinking of going Plasma for, the last 2 weeks going into it, and then finally I was like, you know what, I got to go Darkrai Garbodor. This is going to be the deck that I feel more comfortable with. And then all of a sudden I see Israel, win the first regionals, and I'm like, well, I guess all hope isn't lost for a straight Darkrai. And it's been the deck that I've been favoriting the most. I just wasn't. I didn't have the faith in it to run into a field full of Blastoise and Darkrai Garbodors and everything else. And you know what? He did it, and he inspired me. He inspired Potter. I'm sure he inspired plenty of other players that just said, you know what? I guess the deck is still good, and it was. It really was. Straight Darkrai was a force to be reckoned with, and people had to play Mr. Mimes and Blastoise and all these things to really feel like they had a favorable matchup against them. So credit to him.
I honestly don't even think straight Darkrai was that strong. Like, sure, the guy won 2 weeks in a row, but if you look at it, it hardly did well in anywhere else. Like, I think Dylan Dreyer made top 4 in Philadelphia, but everywhere else, the deck just really flopped. Like,
Yeah, I personally don't think the deck's that strong, but I was like the most consistent in my eyes. So I knew I couldn't do bad with it.
I think,
that was
Sorry,
the
go
advantage it had, in my opinion. That was like the advantage. The only one.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the reason to play Darkrai, is because you know you're going to be getting pretty much the same setup every game. And,
I think
that's
the reason it's good is because it could abuse N so well.
Yeah.
It's a deck that makes a lot of comebacks, setting up multiple knockouts with Night Spirit, and you can end people down to low card hands, and then you can really just plow through with one last big Darkrai. But overall, I don't think the deck was really that strong. It was played a ton at our regionals. Like, probably like 30% of the field played Darkrai at our regionals, and by like round 5, it was all at the bottom tables, pretty much. A few of them made day 2, but for the most part, straight Darkrai really flopped. Our regional is probably strange because there was a huge influx of Virizion decks, which do really well against Darkrai, especially when they all play Mr. Mime. Yeah, I don't want to call like Israel's performance a fluke. I think he played extremely well. I watched the streams when he played, but I really don't think Darkrai was as good to say it was a dominant deck or anything like that.
Yeah, and I would definitely disagree with you if you would have said that his performance is a fluke, because the deck, again, like it forced people to say, you know what, I have to include Mr. Mime in my deck. People weren't including Mr. Mime, originally, and the last week of regionals comes around and everybody's playing it. Again, the Virizion, that's probably a byproduct of the fact that Darkrai was doing so well. But yeah, either way, it was just nice to see the evolution of the format coming into the for this 3 week span of regionals, and credit to all these players that actually won these regionals, including Israel. It was a really nice showing, and now we're done with the format. We're done with that part of Pokemon. You can no longer attack on the first turn in Pokemon. That's the big one, really. How do you guys feel about this? How do you guys feel about Pokemon?
Sorry, but before we move on, I just want to mention some of the crazy decks that did well at regionals. I think the biggest one is Mike Diaz played Tool Drop.
Yeah.
He made top 4 at Philly regionals. Like, what? I don't think anybody expected that one. Like, he actually used Trubbish, and he made top 4. And he had a good chance to actually win the event, I think. Like,
Yeah, he ran into Sam Chen.
Yeah. The other one, Brandon Smiley, and also Justin Phillips both played the Victini Terrakian Drifblim deck. Kind of came out of nowhere. We actually had that deck,
Yeah.
us three. Had that deck kind of planned out, and like we all decided it lost to Blastoise, so it wasn't worth playing. But when you don't run into Blastoise, it's really good. There's that deck, and there's a Kling Klang deck at our regionals. Like, huh? Like, where did that come from? Made top 8. He was the first seed after day 1 and second seed after day 2. Just a straight Kling Klang deck. I thought that deck was just gone, but it turned out he kept facing like Virizion decks, and all they can do is, if they play Genesect, they can G-Booster once, and then he plays a Tool Scrapper, and then he wins. That's pretty much what happens. Or they'll Shadow Triad for it, and then he'll play his second Tool Scrapper, and then he'll win. So he like had an auto win against all these Virizion Genesect decks, all the Virizion Mewtwo decks. It still beats Blastoise. It's good against Darkrai because there's no Crushing Hammer. So that really caught me off guard. Like, a Kling Klang deck, I wouldn't have expected that. So I think it's Justin Crossley. That was really surprising. He ended up getting paired with the only Darkrai Garbodor deck in top 8, and he lost right away. So I think he actually would have won if that didn't happen. And then Tyler Ninamura ran a Stunfisk Leafeon Drifblim deck in Vancouver, and he was first seed. So we definitely saw tons of creativity, even in this last format that a lot of people disliked. So it was a good send-off, I think.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, now moving forward, how do you guys feel about how do you guys feel about the new format? How do you guys feel about the decks that are going to be coming out, and how do you guys feel about the rules changes? So that is quite a bit to talk about. We'll go with Pram first.
I am so happy. Words cannot express how happy I am about this change. I actually played a few games with it, and the games are it's a totally different game now. Or rather, it's back to the old days, I guess. So all the like strategies that you used to be able to do that you couldn't do because Catcher would just blow you out of the water, well, they're back, and you can actually evolve in this game now. Wow. So
I never thought I'd see the day.
What's evolving? Is Mega evolving?
Yes, that is an evolution, but not legal yet. So not yet.
Getting ahead of yourself, man.
But yeah,
A couple more months.
evolution decks are going to be a lot of fun. I'm sure all the decks on Bad Deck Monday will be given a second look through, and yeah, because they may no longer be bad.
Round is real. All right.
I'm sure it is.
I dare you to play.
You have so much
I will be playing round at all the league challenges.
Like a lot of my losses at regionals was like
I'm serious. I'm
was
playing
like
round.
turn
And guess what,
2.
Prim? So are you.
Yeah, like back like in the old format, a lot of my losses were like turn 2, Blizzard Burn, Catcher, Blizzard Burn, Catcher, Blizzard Burn. And I just like, oh well, okay, and that shouldn't happen anymore. So
All right.
I'm very excited about the new format.
What do you? All right, let's see. Call what you think is going to be the deck that comes out of nowhere to
Comes out of
terrorize
nowhere.
people. To terrorize people given the new format.
Comes out of nowhere. Well, I guess that excludes Empoleon because Empoleon's clearly just the best. But comes out of
Some people
nowhere.
may disagree with that.
I like Kyle's Flygon Dusknoir Chandelure deck.
My goodness.
Hey man, the Chandelure got replaced by Excelgor.
Whatever.
Yeah, you're behind the times, man.
Hey man, whatever. Same concept. Very good deck.
I swear,
Got a
Kyle's
pretty
starts
good
talking
win
about
rate.
his Togekiss deck.
Togekiss. Luke was trying to get me to play Togekiss, and he was trying to get Ben to play Togekiss for regionals, and we ended up not doing it. But maybe this time.
I would
16
advise
rounds and
against
nothing but
that.
draws.
If they escape rope you, I don't think you switch.
No, you don't. But you do 30 damage.
You can Silver Bangle and do 60, but I think
okay.
yeah. Or you can Plasma Badge.
Strategy.
You can Plasma Badge, and then do who knows how many.
Probably still 60.
Maybe less.
All right. Potter, what about you? How do you like the new format, new rules changes, etc.? And what do you think is going to be the deck that comes out of nowhere?
I like the new rules changes. I think they're pretty sweet for the game in general. The new format, I'm not sure about it yet. Nothing really seems that exciting to me. I want my big dudes to do well, but I guess I don't know. There's a lot of mystery involved, and that's a good thing. What do I think is going to come out of nowhere and do well? I would say Empoleon with like a 101 Chandelure in it or something like that. That could be pretty sweet.
Oh yeah. By the way, guys, you can play 101 lines again. I'm so excited.
All right. The fact that you can play 101 lines obviously does lead to an entirely different format if you really start thinking about it.
It's
like,
a
you start,
totally different game.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm excited to see what comes out. What about you, Kyle?
I love the new rule changes. A lot of people don't like catcher being on a flip. I think it's a great thing. I've played probably about 20 games in the new format with the new rules, and I love everything. Not attacking turn one is just, why didn't this happen sooner? I think that's the best thing to happen to the game in a very long time. For decks, actually Empoleon won a couple big tournaments in Europe, but he was an Empoleon Leafeon deck.
I considered that in my wide ranges of partners with Empoleon, so I am not surprised.
Yeah, he beats Blastoise pretty badly.
Yeah.
But deck that's gonna come out of nowhere. Ho-Oh's coming back.
I thought about
Switch,
that.
baby.
I thought about that. I was like, I saw Energy Switch. I immediately thought Ho-Oh. I was just like, it's here.
It's back. Got
Don't
Scramble
listen to
Switch.
Kyle.
You
Disclaimer.
got Energy Switch. You got regular Switch.
And you can
Everything's falling in place.
you can play Colress instead of Sharon's.
That is a big.
We will be
improvement.
talking about the new cards new cards, recycled cards, whatever you want to call them, coming out of the new set too. But yeah, I really like the Pokemon catcher rule. I think that's the best one. Or the not attacking on turn one is the best one. But right behind that is the Pokemon catcher rule. I think we really needed that as a player base, as a community, and honestly it refreshes a lot of decks. And you guys just mentioned 3 decks, or aside from the Empoleon deck, you guys just mentioned two decks that honestly I would have never seen coming. And they might not work as well as players might hope, but just the fact that you think that there's a chance just makes it really refreshes players, and makes you think like, oh man, I'm back in the think tank. I'm back in. I'm gonna start deck building again, and people just get excited again. So I am excited to see what's gonna be coming out. Yeah, I'm excited to see what's gonna be coming around. I guess it's time to talk about the new set, because I really do want to talk about Energy Switch. I think Energy Switch coming back out really does open quite a few options for players, and Crushing Hammer as well, and obviously Gothitelle. And what about, instead of talking about these cards, I guess we should just do a mini set review. What you guys actually consider, if you guys consider this set to be good, if you guys consider this set to be negative, whatever you guys want to say about it. It's obviously an intermediate set before we get into the new XY Pokemon. So, what are you guys' feelings on it? We'll start with Kyle.
I like the set, even though it's mostly reprints. There are a few interesting cards in there. This is basically a new version of the Call of Legends set, right? Everything is pretty much a reprint. Even like the new cards that return to the format are just reprints. But there are like 5 to 10 actual new cards. And a lot of them are actually decent. What?
I said I'm looking for them right now, actually, so I can provide exact text. But continue.
The new ones, Meloetta EX is the big one for round. Really like that one. Had some fun with that deck already.
Is Piplup new? I feel like Piplup's new.
There's a new Piplup, yes.
Yep.
2 of them, actually.
Charm.
Let's see. What else is there? Elisa is the new supporter. Yeah. Elisa. The Gyarados is interesting. I don't think it'll be playable, but it's interesting.
So you're forgetting
Spiritomb.
Spiritomb, yeah. That's
Juniper, whatever it is.
Juniper's
Cedric
dad.
Juniper.
Cedric Juniper, yeah. We don't need to talk about that one.
Whoa. You
Blaine's
slow
Quiz
down,
number
all
5, whatever.
Yeah. This is going back to my days, alright? I looked at it and I said, oh no, my nightmares, they're back. I used to play games.
That is
all the
actually a
time.
reprint of a Blaine's card.
Trust
I
me.
think that was one of them.
Nobody's gonna be playing that card
Nobody should.
because Sharon
You
exists.
don't understand.
Sharon, I draw 3. Cedric Juniper, answer this question right, and you draw 3. But if you get it wrong, I draw 3.
Juniper says, embarrass your opponent, draw 3 cards. That's what it says, alright? Because I don't know any of those. Like, they just say it, alright, you win.
I wish
continue.
it would be like draw 4. Then there would be some incentive to play it. But there's absolutely no incentive to play that card other than to play a joke on somebody.
I wonder what happens if you play it, and then you just play a card face down, and they're like, 5'3". You flip it over, and it's just a switch. Like, what would the judge call be? Like, yeah.
Pretty sure you get penalized for that.
You just run like one of everything. Dude, you run it in Vileplume. That way, when you're trolling them with Vileplume, you get them again with Cedric Juniper.
All you need is an escape rope to win the game. You just slam down Cedric Juniper. Guess what this is? Escape rope, good game!
Then
It's
you
like-
get a prize penalty for doing that and you lose.
It's worth it though.
I think some interesting cards came back. Seismitoad is the one for me, round. But otherwise, Victini, Victory Star, gets a reflip. That's a big one. What else? Gothitelle.
Reprinted. Revenge.
Yep.
Bouffalant, my boy, yep.
There's
the
cool new
Iron Breaker
there's
Cobalion.
cool new
Goes
arts
back
of
to
cards.
2011, right? 2011 Nationals, Buffalon.
The Embor art gets me every time I see it.
The Embor art is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
What else we got? Garbodor got reprinted, but I mean it's already in the format. I think the Leaveney is actually an interesting card that never got played. That might have a purpose. Takes away weakness.
I considered it 101s. 101s.
Yeah, I think that could be an interesting card.
You're right, yeah. Each of your Pokemon that
It's
is
it's a reprint. Spiritomb is a new card that might actually be interesting. The ability seems pretty bad, but I actually think it's good if you have problems with Genesect, because it blocks G-Booster. Could actually be useful.
Well, you get it out and you're just like, I'm not running any A-Specs. How about you?
I think that's a card you would actually play in straight Darkrai. A deck that struggles with those G-Booster one-hit knockouts. It's also a decent support card. Otherwise, Energy Switch is the big one. And I actually really hate that Crushing Hammer is back. I severely dislike that card. I did not want to see that come back.
Just live a little. Said just live a little.
That deck takes the fun out of the game, man. Or that card just... I don't like it. While Sableye exists, I don't like it.
The reason I like Sableye.
I am willing to let it roll around for a little bit before I make an opinion on Crushing Hammer.
Already played against it. Don't like it.
Yeah, but like, are you talking about like played against it when Catcher was around or new Catcher?
It's worse without catcher. So all you can do is hit Sableye.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? Escape rope?
Into a new Sableye.
But they can't lock. They have harder times locking things.
Not really. They just crushing hammer and Sableye Garbodor is pretty good.
They just got attack with one energy. Empoleon.
That's when they use Darkrai.
That's when you go Silver Bengal and Empoleon. Empoleon.
Just let the guy dream, right?
Dual Splash.
I actually like the set a lot as a whole. I think it's good for people just getting into the game. There are lots and lots of playable cards, and I think it's cool if you pick up a box of it, you get tons of EXs in it. So it's a cheap way for people to get playable cards. I like the set. I do.
Yeah, it's a great intro
Yeah,
set.
the pull rates for it are incredible, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a really good reason actually. I enjoy this set for people that like myself personally who don't tend to have a lot of cards, who are just getting back into the game and all that good stuff, and they wanna really enjoy the format the way it's supposed to be enjoyed and not just have to stick to one deck or whatever. Awesome stuff. I personally like Crushing Hammer. I think the card is obviously not skillful, but it's refreshing. It's a card that I like to see. It's a card that like keeps setup
Refreshing,
decks.
yeah. We went so long without it.
We did. I missed it. All right.
One tournament.
Well, about 2 months of playtesting, but the point is that I don't know. I do enjoy the interactions that you have with Crushing Hammer. You kind of like slow your opponent down. Like Clink, for example, wouldn't be able to set up fully, or things like that. And those are the things that obviously it's not good against Virizion, and obviously it's not good against Empoleon. But at the same time, it does keep other decks in check. So I think the card's fine. I don't have a problem with it. But I guess I haven't played against it at all. So in the new format, so.
I guess my opinion is just wrong because I'm agreeing with Krim, so don't
Yeah.
listen to me.
When Krim and Pram agree, there's a problem usually. Both of our radars.
I strongly dislike anything that removes basic energy on a trainer card. I do not think that belongs in the game.
It's on a flip.
Of it, man. It's the beauty of it, man. It's
I
on a
don't-
flip.
I don't
It's like
care,
saying
like-
you don't like Pokemon
Oreos.
Why don't you like Oreos, man? I don't understand, Kyle. No, these things are fine. They're necessary, and the fact that you play something like
Necessary. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's
Oh, okay, that's
It is
too
It
far.
is necessary.
why
Like,
is
you need to,
energy
like,
removal necessary?
because you need to like mess around with the basic functions of the game. The basic functions of the game say you must play, or you can play one energy card per turn. So you need to mess with it. You need to be able to play more energies per turn, like with Blastoise, and you also need ways to remove your opponent's energies per turn. Like these things are it's just how card games are made, man. Like you mess with the rules of the game.
We agree that the regular energy removal was one of the worst cards ever printed
Yes.
for the game.
Yes, exactly. I do agree.
So
with
why
that,
is that
which
effect
means
still
that-
good?
Because it's
Why
on
is
a
that
flip.
necessary?
Because it's on a flip.
Oh, that makes it okay.
Yes, it does, because like you're investing quite a bit into the card. Like,
Sometimes
you're
it does,
investing, obviously,
sometimes
deck
things don't
building,
work
you're
out. Like
investing-
I've lost
Yeah.
count on how many times I've played Sableye and gotten
Lost
double tails, only to get the Crushing Hammers back. And getting double heads next turn.
I think it's only a problem because Hypnotoxic Laser exists. And I think that card is stupid.
I think the root of the
Another
problem
stupid card, I agree.
That card is
terrible.
dumb.
I'm pretty sure
That is
everybody
the
can agree that
worst
that card's horrible.
card ever printed in Pokemon history.
I wouldn't go
It
that far, but
Wouldn't
it's
even
pretty
be that bad if Verbank wasn't around. But no. Verbank 2. Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
I th-
Mm-mm.
I think someone was just like at the R&D and they're like, all right, let's flip a coin. Do we up the power creep, or do we tone it down?
Do we
Up
want our
it.
Pokemon to battle, or do we want our Pokemon to be knocked out by a trainer card?
Something tells
And
me
do
that
nothing.
Like, they had Sableye in mind when they were making. Obviously, they had Sableye in mind when they were making like. I would hope that they have cards in mind when they're making cards, but I think they had Sableye in mind. They were like, "Oh, we really want to push this strategy where you're just recycling trainers and you're still dealing damage. I'm pretty sure they didn't actually playtest this. I'm pretty sure they just thought, oh man, this is really cool, and they just made the cards. Go figure, they're broken in every deck, not just Sableye.
It does feel like there's a lack of testing involved
Yeah.
sometimes.
I wish they would bring Recycle back. Kind
Uh-oh.
of upset that it happened.
The Skype
We
call
just,
thing.
we just lost all our video.
Whoa.
Sure did.
Just turn your. Let's restart the call. It's time to get a break and restart the call. We'll see you guys in a little bit.
Well, it was awkward. Apparently, we lost our. Somebody